Hi, I'm Luke Travis from Cranbourne Music Education. Today we're going to be talking about Rockschool, and I have a very special guest, Mr. Brad Fuller. Hi Brad.
Hi Luke.
What is Rockschool?
Well, that's a great question. Not a great way to start, actually. So we spent a lot of time trying to explain to people that Rockschool isn't a school. But the cool thing is that kind of schools caught up with Rockschool, and Rockschool is actually, I think, kind of like a 21st century school. You don't go to Rockschool. Rockschool's there in cyberspace. So in 1991, if you played a rock and roll instrument, you couldn't do grade 8. And if you couldn't do grade 8, you couldn't get a scholarship to go to university. Clearly this is uncool, given that rock and roll is the music of our time. So our founder, Norton York, invented a rock and roll qualification that allowed bass players, drummers, rock and roll singers, and all of the rock and roll family to get a grade 8 qualification and go to university. So essentially at its core, Rockschool is about designing a syllabus that takes you from beginner and gets you ready to be a pro, essentially, and walk you through each year the steps that you need to go through in order to be able to play great rock and roll.
Who is Rockschool for? Like, where does it all start?
So Rockschool's for anybody that wants to get better at music. And so we've got 5 key people that we're really interested in helping. First one clearly is the student or the musician. And you know, a long time ago we thought that once you hit 40 you had to fade away, you know, but then the Rolling Stones kept going. And so really rock and roll is ageless, right? So anytime you want to get better at playing, whether you're a little guy in primary school or you're in high school, or maybe you've left school and you always wished you took it up, then Rockschool's got a solution. And so you can jump into Rockschool anywhere you like. So we've got debut through to grade 8, and you can just start wherever you need to.
Yeah, sure.
So wherever you are on your journey, you just get in and off you go. So first of all, we want to equip students and make them gig ready. The second thing we want to do is we want to help private tutors to have structure to their lessons. And so Rockschool, because we're a syllabus and a suite of resources, we're about helping teachers to structure their year. So it's not about, gee, I don't know what to do next week anymore. It's about, I know what to do this year. I've got the structure in place, and then a great teacher will bring in other resources and use the resources that they've always used, but now with a framework for their year that leads to the possibility for the student to get a qualification at the end of the year. So we see teachers as winners, private teachers as winners. The other people that we're here to help are the classroom music teachers, which I've done a great deal of over the years. And before I found Rockschool, it was always for me about, all right, Sally, you just need to put that finger there, and this is called a G chord, and you do it like this. Yeah. Once Rockschool came to our school, those foundation skills were in place. They were getting those skills from the Rockschool program. So when they came into class, it became about playing music together, and we didn't have to worry about, how do I do that anymore? Yeah. So that really helped. And when it came time for, what are we going to play, Rockschool gave us repertoire. But then as head of department, it was really important for me to know that what was going on in the contemporary music lessons was just as legit as what the traditional instruments were doing. And so I could really say to mum and dad, it doesn't matter what instrument your child chooses, everybody's on a pathway here. And speaking of mum, Rockschool really wants to help mum and dad, because when you walk into a place like Cranbourne, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I heard before, mum and dad came in and they said, you know, we're not music people. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what do we do? And how do these people know if we haven't got a system and standards in place? They're handing over hard-earned cash every week to get music lessons. How do they know? Yeah. Where's the progress? And so Rockschool gives mum and dad the tools to know that the students are making progress, and gives a set of standards to judge, is this working?
Yeah, sure. So how can people get started with the Rockschool program?
If you were to see this book on the shelf, you might just walk past and think, well, it's just another bass book. But Rockschool, the way you get into Rockschool is through the book. And so it's a one-stop shop. So, you know, a lot of other systems, you have to again, Mum has to go and buy, you got to buy that book, and there's a song in that book that you could learn, and you end up buying 20 books.
Yeah.
It's all hard and everything. Rockschool gives you the pieces, gives you the technical work, and gives you the CD with the backing tracks and the model versions all in the same book. And it essentially tells you everything you need to know. So you open up a page 1, and ideally you'd have a teacher, that'd be rocking.
Yeah, yeah.
And you sit there and it says welcome, and then off you go from there. And so that's it, you just need the book.
Yep.
And people say, well, do teachers need to be qualified to teach the Rockschool syllabus? And the answer is no, the teacher just needs to have a student with the book, because we judge the fruit. So clearly, if you can teach really well, your students are going to do really well when it comes to the Rockschool exam. And so everything the teacher needs, everything the student needs is in this one book. We have three products, essentially.
Yeah.
We have what we call a traditional exam, and in the traditional exam you play 3 pieces and do technical work. So that's the kind of standard exam experience, right?
Yeah.
The difference for us is that our technical work is all about the sorts of things that you need to do on the gig, and it's context-based. So if we're going to ask you to learn some scales, the reason you learn those scales is so you can nail that solo in the tune, and there'll be a part where it says, go for it, in the song.
Yeah.
And if you've nailed your scales, you'll be able to nail the solo, and it'll be rocking.
Yeah.
And then things like ear training, you know, instead of sending people off to the piano and saying, sing this back, what is that, a perfect fourth? What we want to know is, if you hear somebody do something on a gig, can you respond?
Yeah.
So our ear training is all about, listen to this, play it back.
Yeah.
Our improvisation is about, here's a few chord symbols, and here's some thematic material, make something up.
Yeah.
And all of the scales and the chords in the syllabus are designed to help you to express yourself. And even things like, I love like our general musicianship questions, it's not about how many flats are in the key of E flat, which is important and everything.
Yeah.
But I love in the drum syllabus it says, how do you change a snare skin? And these are the sorts of things, right? Who's teaching that? So I love, and for teachers, you know, it gives you that structure to go, oh yeah, you know, I never talk about amp settings, or well, I never talk about how do you look after your drum set, or that sort of stuff. And when you look in the back of the book and it goes, don't forget for the exam you need to know about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
It just keeps teachers on track and make sure that you talk about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the first style of exam.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes technical work, and not all the time. So you can do a performance certificate, and when you do a performance certificate, you just play 5 pieces.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's just as legit as if you'd done a traditional grade exam.
Yeah.
But my favourite is the band exam. And so at grades 3, 5 and 8, all of the material in the bass, drums and guitar books is correlated. So if you're learning grades 3, 5 and 8 and you play bass, drums and guitar, if you've learned 5 songs and you can find a drummer and a guitarist, you can do a band exam. You just come in and you play 5 pieces, and it's just as legit as a traditional or a performance certificate. And the cool thing is, if you're preparing for a band exam and the drummer breaks his arm or something, God forbid, well, we've still got the band on the CD, so you can still do a performance certificate by yourself anyway. So there's 3 products there, so we think there's something for everybody.
Do students just play what's in the book?
Well, I think it's a great idea, and essentially if you're doing a traditional exam, you just need to play 3 songs, and you've got a year to learn those 3 songs. They're about 2 pages long.
Yeah.
So the idea is you learn those 3 songs, and then you and your teacher, that inspires you, or kind of twists your ear, and you go, wow, that's a really cool piece. And then you and your teacher go, well, see here, it says suggested listening. If you like this, why don't we learn this piece and that piece? And you might be inspired by something that, a piece in the book that sounds like Hendrix. But maybe the students never heard of Hendrix before. Yeah. So then the teacher goes, grasshopper, you have much to learn. And then you could just go off and spend some time learning about Hendrix. But let's say, for example, that you really couldn't find, of the 6 pieces in the book, you really couldn't find a piece that you dug. Well, you need to play 1 song from the book. Yeah. But then we've got these cool books for drums and guitar called Hot Rock. And these are really cool. If it was just cover tunes, that'd be kind of cool that you could play cover tunes in your exam. But in the front of the book, you get this cut down version, because let's face it, if you're playing the drum set, verse 2 kind of sounds similar to
verse 1.
Yeah. So we just go, give us the essence in 1 or 2 pages, give us the essence of that tune, and then the back of the book, you get the exactly as recorded, complete artist transcription.
Yep.
So for the student and the teacher, you get to see where you're at right there. You get a cut down exam version, but then you also see where you could take it. Yep. So that's really cool. So you could play 1 song from our grade book and 2 songs from our hot rock book, or you could play whatever the heck you like, actually. And so on the Rockschool Australia website, it says free choice pieces. If you're doing grade 1, for example, tap it with your finger on your iPad, and it says, as long as your piece matches this criteria, go for it. So you can write your own songs if you want.
Yeah, sure. Is the vocal syllabus the same as the instrument
No.
syllabuses, or
Well,
it's different?
Well, we all know that vocalists are special people, right?
Yes, we do.
And so it wouldn't be appropriate. Would it?
No.
To just have a standard, same as everybody else, syllabus. So essentially, singers want to sing what's hot.
Yeah.
And so Rockschool's got a system in place whereby we grade the music that you're hearing right now. And so you can go to the Rockschool Australia website and get, again, the free choice guide, so you can sing whatever you like. Or we've graded some pieces that, that have been released in the last 6 months. So we do produce a vocal book, which is really great, and it has technical work in it, and it's got some classic tunes. But in addition to that, you can sing the stuff that's on the radio right now.
What if your teacher already uses a method book?
Well, that would be great.
Yeah.
It'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. The thing about Rockschool is it's an augmentation. It's not an instead of. It's a use with, and it's about with 9 grades, 2 performance diplomas, and 2 levels of teaching diploma. Essentially, what we're just doing is bringing structure to what teachers already do. So your method book is a great fit. All of those tunes that you've transcribed, all of those books that you've bought, we'll bring them in, because like I said earlier, we're only asking the student to learn some scales, a couple of pieces, and some technical work. That's not enough to keep anyone engaged for a year, right?
Yeah, sure.
We're just giving the structure, and then great teachers will bring in all sorts of great resources, including the method book that they're already using.
Where do you do the exams?
Well, where the We Come to You exam board, there's a range of options.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you're at a school and you've got a certain number of students that are ready to do an exam, we can come to the school. We really love coming to examine students where they're comfortable. And again, we're thinking about mum and dad.
Yeah.
Mum and dad haven't got time to be driving you all around town, right?
Yeah, sure.
So as long as the numbers work and you've got a suitable place in your school, we'll come to you.
Okay.
Then we also have some pretty rockin' public exam centres as well. So you might think, well, actually, I think I'd rather go and have an experience and go and do my Rockschool exam somewhere else. And maybe mum likes driving around, or maybe dad just got a new car or something.
Yeah.
But the third thing we're really excited about is video exams. And we think we've had a great response. We've been kind of beta testing video exams, and that's where we send your teacher a script and backing tracks and all of the sorts of materials you need, and then the teacher conducts the exam in your normal lesson time. You video that on a smartphone or whatever you like, and then upload it to wherever you would ordinarily upload things, or stick it on a USB stick and pop it in the snail mail. So there's an option there for everybody.
And where can people go for more information on Rockschool?
Well, it's all about rockschool.com.au, as you expect, I guess. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's where you can find out information about how do exams work, where do I go to do exams. Essentially, the other place, or I think a great place, would be to come to you.
Cranberry Music.
That's right. It's the whole point, right?
Absolutely.
You could come to this very same YouTube channel and watch this interview over and over again. And speaking of YouTube, Rockschool AU is the name of our YouTube channel, and we're really excited about what we're building there. So you can go to that channel, and for bass, drums and guitar at the moment, you can see the guys who actually played the songs playing them in the studio. And so it's a great way to model. But what I'm more excited about is what students from Australia are beginning to upload their own Rockschool performances. And so the vision, and we're supporting this by offering prizes from time to time, the vision is that if you want to play Rockschool guitar, you go to our YouTube channel and you watch other kids just like you nailing the tunes. And so you can get really excited about and model from those performances. And just a host of things, like if you don't know your rudiments on the drum set, for example, we've got the 40 standard rudiments up there, all sorts of cool stuff. And we really hope the Rockschool AU channel will be a place, along with the Cranbourne YouTube channel, where you can find out not just about Rockschool, but ultimately it'll be a place to go to get equipped.
And that's just some of what Rockschool is all about. Thanks, Brad, for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
That's it.